Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming to our SEO Q&A. Um, I got a couple questions submitted beforehand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through those first. Thank you, Kathy, for submitting a question. And if you all have questions afterwards, feel free to ask. I'm not like going through a program or anything during this. This is just a Q&A to answer your questions. So yeah, feel free to like hop off mute when I'm done with these two questions and ask your questions, or type them in the chat and I will get to them. So Kathy, I'll go with you first since you're here. Your question was in, oh yes, I will repurpose for content. In your opinion, is SEO more technical or strategic? Do you have any like, do you want to expand on that, or is that just like the basic question?
Well, that was my funny aha moment when I had a link that I needed to get out to people, and I was kind of sad. It wasn't what I wanted. And then I went in and saw that I had only set up one SEO, not to the different landing pages, right? And it was like, aha, and there was your email, and I could change the picture and I could change the description and the words. I mean, it wasn't bad. So is it strategy, or for me, that was a little technical. So go for
Yeah.
it. Strategy.
So, so I would say that SEO is definitely technical. Uh, but strategy, I normally think of if people are like using SEO as one of their main marketing tactics, is like, I want my blogs to appear high on Google when people ask me, like, how do I do XYZ or whatever. That would be very strategic because you need to go out and figure out what people are searching for and figure out what's already out there answering it and how you can do it better and things like that. And then that's like a long-term game. Excuse me. SEO is a very long-term game. But with the stuff you're talking about, which is part of why I want to do this call, is like if you just have one page that you need some SEO on, that is definitely like there's some bare minimum stuff that you can do. So, like for your landing page that you made, you could say like your name and then a brief description of like what the landing page was for. Like, let's say you were giving a talk or something, like, or actually, I'm not going to use that. Let's say you were giving a freebie away and it was like a checklist or something. So it could be like, oh, checklist for things to accomplish in midlife to be happier or whatever. I don't know what people are searching for. But that way, when people search for the checklist or your name, it will pop up on Google. If you have no SEO set up on your page, then Google won't even know it exists and it won't appear. And people will be searching for you and they'll be like, Kathy, I can't find your stuff on Google. Where is it? Oftentimes you'll see that if you don't have your SEO set up, like your LinkedIn page or your Instagram page will pop up on Google, but your website won't. So, and Kathy, I know we set up a lot of SEO for you. So yeah, every time you put out a new page, you're gonna want to put a strategic title and a strategic, it's called a meta tag, but it's basically the description that shows up on Google when it gives you all the options of pages to click through. Does that answer your question? You're on mute.
Yes. And the follow-up one is the meta tag. Do you say, hey, Chat GPT to get some of that info?
I haven't used ChatGPT to do SEO, Nicole. You probably have. I'm sure some people have. I'm sure there's techniques to do it, but the biggest thing is I think the max amount of characters you can have is 160. So there are websites you can go to and it'll have a little box and you can type into it and it'll tell you how many characters you have left. Some like I know you're on Wix and I'm on WordPress, and I think for both of us, it tells you in the bottom how many characters you have left. And I would just try to make it as descriptive as possible with your keywords in there if you can. But the biggest thing is you want it to be readable by humans because that's what humans are going to see as they look on Google. And if it's just a bunch of like jargon and keywords, then people are going to be like, what is this? And they're going to keep scrolling. Does that answer it? Awesome. Thanks for the question. All right, the next one is from Jake. I don't see him here, but I'm sure he'll be watching the replay. So let's see. Jake said, how can you tell whether or not someone knows what they're talking about when it comes to SEO? This is a great question. I think just like with anything, you want to make sure that people have proof and credibility. Like if I came to you and said, "Hey, I build websites," you probably would want to see like a website I've built before you hire me, right? So the same thing goes with SEO. I know I've talked to a couple potential clients, and a lot of them are like, someone popped in my email and said, pay me $3,000 and I'll get you top ranking on Google. And of course, that doesn't happen because it's scammy. And another thing to know is that SEO is a long-term game. Like it's part of SEO is that Google wants to see that you have, it's almost like seniority. Like if your website is a month old, you're not going to be ranking first on Google unless no one else has any content out there about that thing. So um, I think that's something to think about too, is that when you start doing SEO for marketing, it is just something you're going to stick with for a long time. If that makes sense to people. Um, Yeah, but I would say the biggest thing is to ask for proof of the work they've done. Ask for testimonials, ask them to show you things. Another good thing, and this goes for like anyone who's hiring any type of expert, is do a little bit of research on the um what's it called? Like the basics of that so you can ask them questions like, "Oh, what do you do if a website has really bad SEO?" And I don't know, you can throw in some technical terms there and see how they respond. Um, that's what I would say for that. I would just make sure that they can vet themselves and that they sound like they're going to take care of you and they don't just want to like grab your money and run. So hopefully that answers your question, Jake. Maisie, we'll go with you.
Well,
And
I
I
just
saw a
have a
question come in, but
follow-up. Are
yeah, go
you
ahead.
saying Maisie?
Yes.
I have a follow-up to what you were just saying. Um, is there about expertise and proof? So what are the sort of data or whatever that you can see? Like, how could an expert show me before and after, or like what I wouldn't like, what would it even look like? They would have some sort of statistics to say this. Okay, can you
Yeah.
describe, like, what would I see from somebody?
Oh, I can show you. Um, Maisie, when I was at your house and I was showing you all those charts and graphs of like analytics for websites and
Mm-hmm,
how I look at my analytics, that
mm-hmm.
is exactly what they would show you. So I'll pull this up. There's a thing called Google Search Console, and I highly suggest you all put your websites on it unless you're like Melinda and Stacy, whose websites are not really theirs. But basically you can connect your website to Google Search Console and it will tell you exactly how your website is performing. And you can see it go up, as in like it's performing better and people are clicking on it more. So that is a chart that people can share with you and be like, this is a website I worked on. Here is what the chart looks like for the last, or like the last year. Look, you can see it was like really low. They weren't showing up in Google. And then I came in at this point and all of a sudden the chart goes way up.
Right, so
Um,
there's like the way that data is tracked around SEO, because the only part of that I remember is the thing that I like locked into and was like, I understand this.
yeah.
Right, which was where it was really sort of, it was a very visual representation. It wasn't, so I forgot all about, oh, good, thank you. You're going to show us this. But so like folks can like experts in this can say, I did this particular set of SEO optimization. Hopefully that's
Yeah.
the right
So
term. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So ideally, they would show you something like this. This is Google Search Console. And this is a client that I have who I've been working on some SEO for him, but he kind of went MIA for about 9 months. So it started to go up and then we didn't do anything. So it kind of plateaued. And now we're working on it again. But the blue line is how many people clicked on your website, and the purple is how many people saw your website on Google, how many times it came up based on your blogs or things like that. You can look at what people are searching for in queries, and it'll show you how many clicks you got and how many people saw your website. So ideally, these lines would be pretty low, and then they would spike up. And that shows that this person knows what they're talking about with SEO, because all of a sudden, like, Google is really recognizing them and they're getting shown to people. Does that make sense?
It makes a ton of sense. That visual was helpful as well as the words. I have one last follow-up question and then I'll let you move on. So can you help me wrap my mind a little bit more around, like, I have two things that sort of don't resolve well with each other. And one is it's a long game. And the other is, look, I did this thing and you can see this change. I know both of those things are true. I just don't know how to make them be true together.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an analogy I kind of thought of in the last week. It's hit or miss, but bear with me. Imagine that there's like a conference happening and there's a panel of people who can speak and you can apply to be a speaker, right? And let's say like 1,000 people really want to be the speaker and people are just like submitting applications left and right. And there's specific guidelines on what the application needs, right? You need to do this, this, this. You need to show us this. You need to whatever. Let's say a bunch of people just like went on AI and said, hey, fill this out for me. And it was a bunch of whatever because AI didn't know about them and it was crappy, right? They submit those and those aren't going to be probably not really accepted, right? They're just going to get tossed away. And then there's some people who submit and they have good stuff, but they didn't like answer the basic questions. And so like they don't get accepted because even though they have good stuff, they didn't answer it right, or they didn't, give the panel exactly what they needed. And then there's the people who answered all the questions. They've been doing this for a long time. They know their stuff. They talked about other people they've worked with before. They have a good network and everything. Those are the people who are probably going to get accepted to be on the panel. That's kind of how Google works. That's kind of how SEO works. And so you can always resubmit your application as you've improved it. And as you've seen, like, oh, actually, this is, or let's say like someone is doing something similar to you, but you do it slightly different, or you have a different take on it, you can resubmit your application with that different take, and you've filled out everything correctly, and you have references to these other people you've worked with and stuff like that. And then the panel will be like, oh man, okay, so you're doing this differently. People are asking about this, and you've worked with like all these people before, and you submitted everything correctly. And then you'll be accepted to the panel. That's kind of how I see Google and SEO is like,
That's
is that a good
awesome.
analogy?
It makes it make so much more. And that thing about, like, I know this is a maintenance thing. I know this is a thing that we have to do all of the time. But on the other hand, I know if you do these things, your numbers change. So then, yeah, so that really helped both things be true at the same time. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So like with the chart I just showed you with the client I have, what I'm doing is he's submitting new blogs to me and I'm taking them and I am formatting them to be best practices for Google for SEO. And I am looking to see what's already out there and trying to make it kind of answer things in a better way or a more straightforward way, or throw his expertise in there more because he's been doing what he does for decades. So he has a lot of expertise. He has a lot of like he has a lot of credibility. So it's just kind of it's constantly trying to improve that application and make it better. And then it takes a while for Google to see you too, because like my analogy, that part doesn't work where it some especially if you are doing SEO as a long term strategy and you are competing with other people who are already ranking really high on Google, then it's going to take a while for yours to get kind of pushed up because you're competing with people who are already ranking high and they've like been doing it for years or things like that. I kind of went off topic there. I don't know. I hope that answered your question. I think it did. Okay. Let's see. So Jay said, I often see content online for e-commerce sites from SEO agencies that deter ads versus SEO. Don't spend money on ads, instead focus on SEO. To increase traffic, would you prioritize SEO versus ads? I think it's kind of two different things. I think that's their marketing gimmick to try to get you to hire them. But one thing that ads do is if you have ads on Google and people start coming to your website, then that shows Google, hey, people like this website. And then another part of SEO is Google wants to see that people are staying on the website and like interacting with it and reading it and scrolling through. If you're going and immediately clicking off, then there's something wrong with that website. And Google doesn't want to show you that website because they want you to be happy with the search engine. They want you to keep using Google. They don't want you to get bad results. So bringing traffic to your website is good. SEO is still really important if that is a tactic that you are using for your website. If you don't want to use SEO, if you don't want to do blogs or things like that, then it's important to just have basic SEO. So like if I wasn't using SEO, I would make sure that my web pages at least had my name, probably the name of my business and what I do. Maybe even like my location. So then if people search for like website developer in my location, I would hopefully be one of the first that pops up. Jay, hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if you want to add any more, but if not, I will move on. All right, I'm going to move on. Nicole, I think you're just talking to Kathy. The ChatGPT, it's scraping the internet and giving you the best answer. If you're asking ChatGPT for SEO help, you need to assign your prompt a role. Example, you're an SEO expert who has worked. Awesome. Yeah, Nicole is our resident AI expert, so she will always answer your AI questions. Yeah, you definitely need your ChatGPT to know about you and what you do and tell it, hey, act as an SEO expert and help me with this. And then as I always say with SEO is, or with AI is think of it like a rough draft that you should go in and refine, right, with everything you do. All right, that's all the questions I have so far. Does anyone have any more that popped up? If not, I can give you all a really brief intro to SEO, but I will wait to see if any questions come up. Okay, I'm gonna give a brief intro because I know some of you have asked me before some pretty one-on-one questions, and oh, Nicole, how do you stay current with algorithm searches, AI searches like Google SGE? I'm not sure what SGE is. And evolving content formats. That's a good question. AI search is definitely a big thing, and I haven't personally looked into it too much yet, but that is very high on my to-do list. But I know that there are ways that you should format your stuff so that if you want ChatGPT to be like, who are the top 5 AI experts? And then Nicole's name pops up. There are ways that you would want to strategize yourself with SEO to make sure that ChatGPT is going to recommend you. And then also there are ways, I think it's probably just adding like a summary. In my head, it's probably adding a summary to the top of like your blog post or something so that, you know, when there's an AI overview, when you're searching on Google and AI overview pops up before any of the results pop up, there are ways for your website to be that AI overview. That is high on my list to do, and that is something that is probably really important in this day and age because AI is not going anywhere. Nicole, did that answer your question?
Yes, it did.
Cool. What about SEO? Because people like me don't use Google so much for search as we use AI for search. Yeah, so
Is this what I was worried you were moving on. And so I was trying to tap my question in real quick, and I didn't listen to what you just said to Nicole.
no
And
worries.
then I was hearing words like like filtering through, and I was like, wait a second, am I typing the same question?
No worries, you're good. Yeah, so it is evolving. SEO is evolving to incorporate AI, and there are certain things that you need to do if you want your like the AI summary to show something from your website. It is high on my to-do list to learn, but that is definitely something that is going to be necessary if you're using Google and SEO as a solid marketing strategy.
Hey,
And then you
Nikki,
said using, go ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna say I listened to a podcast yesterday actually on kind of what the subject is, and they were saying that if you have really good SEO, since AI, like the search features, like the Google is like the Google SGE is just like Google's like AI search at the top of it when you Google it and it comes up with the AI search. If your SEO is really good, what you're gonna see is your SEO analytics are going to drop, but your sales and your like outcomes are going to stay consistent or even like get better. Like they use like a pizza shop, for example. Like if your SEO is really good, and you're seeing long term that AI is pulling that and you're showing up on like Google Maps now and the top as a source, people aren't going to necessarily go to your page, but they're going to click in and order your stuff. So you're
Oh, like
it's
it'll
harder.
skip.
Yeah. So you're still showing up because your SEO is good, but the user is skipping that time on your page. And there's really no way right now that you can like get that information because they haven't figured out how to track it yet. I don't know if that makes any sense or not. So
Yeah.
SEO is still important, just in a different way. You're not going to see it.
I
Yeah.
understood it eventually, I think, but I don't know if it made sense to other people. I can't confirm or deny that, but I got that how it could make you skip out of actually visiting the website because you got the information and the navigation in the AI response.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. My question was a little different. I mean, it's the same general topic, but it was actually a little bit different because what I'm
'Cause you use
saying,
AI for search.
yeah, because so I'm saying I rarely use like a commerce-based search engine. I don't know how to describe it, like Google. I rarely use Google to search for any information. I use AI and great prompts and particular agents that will go out and do that for me so I don't have to deal with Google. So I guess what I'm saying is like, if folks aren't searching, like how do you show up for people who use AI to search? Not about that, like search, that AI thing that comes up automatically when you use the search engine now.
I get
I
what you're
think,
saying.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So there are certain things that you can do to position yourself as an expert in your field. And like Maisie, I'm assuming that you would look up like who is the top whatever expert that I can learn from. And ChatGPT might give you like 5 or 10 examples, right? There are certain things you can do to position yourself in that way. I'm actually in a course right now and I'm learning how to do this. So I will report back. But yeah, a lot of people are using ChatGPT instead of Google now. So it is important to make sure that when ChatGPT or any AI scrapes the internet and is looking for an answer for you, that you know, or an answer for someone, that your name pops up. So good question. I will report back to you. Okay, if y'all have more questions, just type them in the chat. I'm gonna give you a brief SEO like 101, because a lot of you might not want to use SEO as a big marketing tactic and something that you want to work on for years to come. But that being said, even if you don't want to do that, it is important to have like the most basic SEO set up on your website. Yeah, pay me in. Um, So like Kathy was saying, whenever you put a website or a web page out there, like a single page on your website or a landing page or anything like that, you probably want people to be able to search on Google or Bing or any other search engine and find it, right? So there are some really basic things to do. First of all, whenever you search on Google, each result has like a title and it has a little description, right? You want that title and that description to answer the question people are typing into Google. So if people are searching for Kathy Highland, you want to make sure that your title of your website has Kathy Highland in it, and then the description could or could not, but maybe you also want to put like your location or what you do, so that if people are searching for like what you do in your location, your name might pop up on Google. It's like the bare minimum. And for a couple of the people I've worked on their websites, I've Googled them and their website doesn't even pop up. And then I realized they don't have any SEO set up. So that is the bare minimum. That is the most basic thing you can do. Whatever you want to be searched for, put that in your title and your description. But a big thing, and I know Stacy, you mentioned this to me like a week ago, but you don't want to do keyword stuffing. So that's when it was a tactic like 10 years ago or something. And it's when people would, let's say you wanted to be ranked for, or like you wanted to show up when people searched for like these 7 things. So you just listed those 7 things out, right? And 10 years ago, Google was like, oh, they have all these things. That's great. And now Google is smarter and Google is like, that's not human readable. That's just a bunch of words. And we don't like that. We're not going to put you up there. So make sure you don't do that. Make sure the priority is that it's for people, not for robots. Google wants people to be happy when they find your stuff. They also want the algorithm to like know what's going on your website, which is why you had to fill out that application in a specific way. But the main thing is you want people to be happy. Google wants people to be happy when it gives them results. If it gives them results that make them unhappy, people are going to be frustrated and maybe use ChatGPT more to search. So if you all don't have any SEO set up on your landing pages or your sales page or your website, I would do that. If you are on like Wix, Squarespace, WordPress, any of those website builders, there should be a section called SEO and it will just guide you through it and you can just fill it out. If you're using something else, there might be another way to do it, but I would just do a quick search on how to set up SEO for whatever you're using to build your landing page or your website or stuff like that. If anyone has questions about that, feel free to pop off mute or type them in the chat. And I will answer Maisie's question. What are the differences between SEO and keywords and backlinks and meta tags? Oh, great questions. Okay, I'm sure all of you have heard these like floating around and you're like, I have no idea what any of these are. SEO uses a lot of like technical terms and it can be scary, and I'm not surprised that a lot of you and a lot of people I talk to are like, I don't even want to try. I don't want to get started with that. It's too confusing. So SEO stands for search engine optimization, right? It's a way for SEO to make sure that it is putting out the best answer to your query, to what you type in Google. You want to optimize things like we were talking about the application, make it the best it can be so that Google will say, oh, this is a really great answer to that question. I'm going to put it on the first page and see if people like it. And if more people like it, I'm going to keep putting it higher and higher because people really like it. So that's SEO. Keywords are what people search for. And a lot of people say keywords like a keyword, but a lot of times it's 2 or 3 or maybe even more words. So for me, since I do website development, some keywords I use are like website developer, website development, website designer, website design and development, SEO for small businesses, websites for small businesses. Like all of those phrases are keywords or keyword phrases. I don't go around and like write those in a list because that's not gonna fly with Google. Google's gonna say, what are you doing? This is not good. You're just like, you could be a scammer or something. But I try to incorporate those phrases throughout my pages. And some pages I might focus more on one thing versus another. Like I might have a page that focuses on SEO versus design, website design. So then that page I would talk a lot about um, SEO for small businesses, SEO for service-based businesses, how to set up your SEO, stuff like that. Backlinks are basically one of the things I said with that application is, remember how I said, oh, you've worked with so-and-so and oh, you know so-and-so, you have this great network. That's what backlinks are. So if that's why people used to do like guest blogging and things like that, it's really good to appear on podcasts because when someone says, like, links your website and says, I really recommend, or I worked with, or I interviewed so and so, visit their website here, that shows Google that, like, hey, this person's real and like they've worked with this other person and this could be like, this is probably really good. So it's really great if you can work with someone, or if you do work with someone and you can get them to somehow put your website, or you can get them to put your website link on their website and you can put theirs on yours. That is fantastic. That's kind of like showing that you are real, you've worked with all these people. That's one reason that a lot of people do podcasts and they interview people, is because then they have a page on their website for every episode and they can be like, today I interviewed so and so, here's their website. And that person can be like, hey, I was on this podcast, here's the link to the podcast, and it references back. And Google's like, wow, you know so many people and you have all these, like, you're referencing all these high level websites. We know that all of you are legit. Hopefully that answers your question. You might see a lot of people being like, buy backlinks from me. That's scammy. Don't do that. That's going to be a waste of your money. That's people who are saying, if you pay me, I will put your website link on my website. Don't do that. Make sure it's legit. But I also like to do, like, when I'm writing a blog for SEO for myself or for clients, I like to reference, if I'm talking about something else that's relating to it, I will reference another page. Like or if I have a stat, I'll find that stat online and I will link to it. And that looks good for me and for the person who built that web page. So hopefully that answers that. And then meta tags are kind of like that description I was talking about. So when you're searching on Google, there's the title and the description. That's a meta tag, is the description. Or yeah, meta title, meta description. That's kind of what it is. Hopefully that answers those questions, Maisie. Backlinks are a part of SEO that I imagine as interweb confetti. Yep, interweb confetti. That's a good way to put it. Good visual. It's like the tagging on Instagram, totally. Yeah. Because when you get tagged on Instagram, a lot of people are gonna see your stuff too. So like one time I did a live with someone and then I didn't even think about it, but a bunch of her people started following me and a bunch of my people started following her. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense because we collaborated. And that's why you see a lot of people now who do like collaboration reels, and it's like, oh, me and this person, because that's going to show up on all of their feeds and those other people might get new cross follows. It's kind of similar to that. Kathy, you're gonna do a podcast today, or you're gonna listen to one. You're gonna interview? Amazing. Share it with us. I'd love to hear it.
I'm on one. I'm not interviewing. They're interviewing me. So I'm going to do what I do. I'm just going to give her those list of things. Even the blog, I think I'm going to give her. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Make sure you share it. I want to hear it when you're done. Meta tag is behind the scenes then. I'll have to double check. I get really confused with meta tag versus meta description versus meta title, but I will double check that for you, Maisie. And I will.
But is that the kind of thing, is it's not like a person on a viewer sees that and that's why it's called meta, is because it's not like obviously visible to the user.
I believe that's the case. I
Okay.
believe that it doesn't show up on Google, but I will double check that for you. but there
Okay,
is a
I
lot of
doubt I need, yeah, I doubt I need a really deep understanding of this. It's more about, like you were saying, about like all the technical language becomes kind of jargony if you don't, if you can't like understand the whole sentence because you're lost on the like, do I actually know what that means? So I'm just trying to get like the lay of the land. I almost want like I want a visual that says like these, how are these terms relate to each other, or how they, I don't know, like I feel like I need to sketch it.
Well, amazing. Guess what? You're in my course.
And you
There
gave
are
me that
visuals.
already?
What?
Did you give me that already?
No, but there's a module in there about SEO. And
Oh,
so
you know.
watch that video, and then if you still have questions, let me know.
Oh, are you for you, because it's not your own personal torture, or forgetting that
don't like the
you and I
videos.
have had this conversation? Like, this is the fourth time where I've said like, I will, and then say to inside my head, I'm so scared.
Yeah.
But I think
Well, I'll walk you through
gradually,
it.
I know, I think gradually I'm just getting less scared about it by circling around it. And I have not needed to be the one to actually do it yet. So I'll get my final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you. We got this.
I'm so glad that you are, yeah, that the course is there and that you can like kind of come in and out of the modules at the different points of learning and understanding it. Because I've been in and out of it. I think this will be the fourth time of that SEO, but mostly because of me, not because.
Okay. We'll talk after and see if there's like more info that I should add to the course or not. Awesome. Everyone, you had amazing questions. We still have a bit more time. If anyone else has any other questions, or anyone wants me to go through anything, or if you have a specific question relating to your website or your landing pages or sales pages, feel free to hop off mute or type it in the chat. We'll give it a minute, and then if no one has questions, we can wrap up early. But I'll give it a minute. Anyone feel free to pop off mute. Thank you for all the awesome teaching. Thank you for all the awesome questions. All right. Unless someone pops off mute, I'm going to wrap this up. Looks like I answered everyone's questions. Thank you all for the amazing questions and for showing up. It was good to see all of you. I will send this replay out so that you have it. And if you have more questions, just let me know. And yeah, I'll help you out.
Thank
All
you.
right.
This was
Thank
great. Great.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.